In this demonstration, I will show you how to plot a cosine function containing an amplitude and phase shift. This will be question 1 of 2. The first thing that you have to do when it comes to graphing a cosine function is to identify your a, b, and c value. Your a value is the leading coefficient. It is the number that is in front of the trigonometric function. So let's write that down. Your a value is the absolute of that number, which is 3. So if you're asked to find your amplitude, you can't just simply say that it's, if this were negative, you can't simply say that it's -3. You always have to take the absolute. So our a value is 3. Next, our b value is the number that is connected to the variable. In other words, the coefficient of the variable, and in this case it's x, so our b value is 5. And finally, your c value, which helps you to determine the phase shift later on, is this value right here. And since the c value is in degrees, we know that this particular equation is configured in degrees, and therefore when it comes to finding the period, you have to use this formula, not this version, this one. So the next thing we'll do is find the period. Period is equal to 360 degrees divided by b. 360 divided by 5 is equal to 72. So one full cycle will be completed within 72 degrees. I'll use this point right here as my period. The next thing you need to do when it comes to graphing is you have to find out these 3 points, starting at 0, of course. And the way you do that is you take your period and you divide it by 4. If you divide it by 4, you end up with 18. So each one of these points incrementally increases by 18 degrees. The next thing that you have to do is you have to find out your phase shift. And your phase shift is found, and we're going to represent phase shift by PS. Your phase shift is found with your C and your B value. This is the formula for phase shift. Your C value is 30, and don't forget this negative. And your B value is 5. And if your phase shift is negative, that means you'll shift every point to the left, and if it's positive, you shift it to the right. If you divide these two numbers out, you get -6, which means that every point that you plot will be shifted -6 to the left. Now, since this is a cosine function, and since the amplitude is 3, which I'll denote up here as 3 and -3, cosine always starts off at 1, but in our case, the amplitude is 3, so it starts off at 3. And then it makes its way down, and then it reaches the lowest point halfway in the cycle, goes up, and then goes back up again. So let's just connect that with a dashed line. I'll give you an idea of what a cosine function looks like without any modifications. Next, what we'll do is we will apply the phase shift. Now, remember I said that the phase shift means that you're going -6 every point. So this point, technically, you are going, and let's be super accurate here. Let's say that this is 6, this is 12, this is 18. So in that case, this is -6. So this point right here moves over slightly to the left. And similarly, this point moves over here. This point moves over here. This point moves over here. And lastly, this point moves here. So the red, and I'll use a thicker marker here, the red represents the cosine function with an amplitude of 3 and a phase shift of -6. There you have it. That is how you solve that is how you plot, I should say, a cosine function with an amplitude and a phase shift. If you have any questions related to this, use our website at biology-forums.com. If you have any other math, science, or any subject that you need help on, our website is also accessible for those things too. See you soon.